Hello and welcome back to Solid. My name is Jake. Thank you guys for joining me again on today is a Thursday afternoon, April 4th, right around 5 o'clock is when I'm recording this. Thank you guys for joining me. Here to do like a little Battlehawks Week 1 reKAWp, get into the bird's eye preview for the Week 2 game against the Arlington Renegades. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I didn't do the reKAWp earlier in the week, so I'm gonna get to it now because I'm a man of my word. I guess first thing I kind of want to start off with here, just to get it out of the way, just for posterity's sake. That way we know what we're talking about, and it's probably gonna help me too. Just kind of go through the what the Battlehawks ended up having as their starting offense and defense. It changed a lot, and I'll get to that. On defense, defensive line was Freedom Akinmoladun, Kobe Smith, and Austin Fauliu. Austin is his name, and that's what I'm going to go by. There was Pita Tomepenu. Gee, I'm not good at names. Willie Harvey, Mike Rose, Carson Wells at linebacker. Chris Payton-Jones, Brandon Sebastian, Ben DeLuca, and Quinterio Cole were the defensive backs. Again, that kind of changed throughout the game, and I'm not entirely sure I liked it a whole lot. Seemed kind of dumb. They really changed like the entirety of the defensive backfield at one point, and it didn't work at all. On offense, it was, of course, everybody's favorite left tackle, Jared Jones-Smith, the guy who does entirely too much and nothing at all. Left guard is Stephen Gonzalez. Mike Panashuk is the center. Right guard, Vidal Alexander. Right tackle, Jawan Bushell-Beatty. Running back was Wayne Gallman. That was fun. Wide receiver was Blake Jackson, wide receiver Darius Shepard, wide receiver Hakeem Butler, tight end was Jake Sutherland, and then, of course, A.J. McCarron as the quarterback. The wide receiver thing is very bizarre to me that they have those three as their were the three that they marched out there first. I liked the way that all three of them played. I guess Hakeem Butler didn't play very well, but I like the way that they used Blake Jackson and Darius Shepard. But that's the starting lineups that they gave us for that game. But to kind of get into it, I guess starting with like the offensive side, because that's the more fun side. They just didn't get going, and they kept getting in their way the entire time. Like rewatching it. The running game was just not there, and they kept doing these runs on first down. It was utterly frustrating. Like pulling up, if I could pull up the stats for the running backs this game, we had Wayne Gallman with 13 carries for 40 yards, and he got 12 of those 40 yards on one play. And then there was Jacob Sailors, who had 6 carries for 7 yards. It's just like these guys. These guys aren't good. They're not good at being running backs, and they're running behind. They're running behind a bad offensive line. Like for Wayne Gallman, my note watching him, he does a lot of hesitation, and I get that. I don't think that's completely on him because he's playing behind that offensive line. That's, like I said, he hesitates. He has bad vision and bad offensive line. The bad vision part's the part that kind of got me going. I understand that when you're doing an outside zone run, there's not a specific hole for you to hit. You're hitting wherever the hole is. But he was hitting spots that weren't holes, where there were some holes if he were to bounce it out. I did not like the way that he played. And then in pass blocking, my God, man, just really, really bad at pass blocking. Like almost to a point where you'd say it's not even really pass blocking. Like there was whoever number 30 was on that Michigan defense. They even brought it up on the broadcast because it was very funny. Like AJ tells him to block this guy, and then AJ tells him to block. Like before the play, AJ tells him to block 30, and then during the play, you can hear AJ yelling, "Get 30," and then 30 doesn't get got, and AJ does get got by 30. It's like What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Just put your body in the way a little bit. Just like I understand he's like number 30 is also a professional athlete, but you got to do something to slow him down. Like you're the only running back that's running back sized. You can't just not do half of the job, my guy. So that was bad. And then Jacob Sailors was a hot mess. He was more being used in the passing game, which it would have been really cool if if he could pass block, so that way they could actually really use him in the passing game. He had 2 receptions for 24 yards. His long was 19, so that kind of did the brunt of that. And he dropped some boneheaded ones too. Again, none of these running backs are necessarily good. I would be quite happy if they just signed somebody off the street just to trot them out there, just to see what they can do, because Jacob Sailors and Wayne Gallman are not it. I don't know. So the running game hampered this game completely, and I think it's going to kind of be that way. They kept trying to put it up the middle. They kept trying to run it up the middle, and it just didn't work. They would have won that game. They would have won this game on that last drive. That last drive where they're going down and Marcel Aitman ends up getting the touchdowns. If they had any semblance of a running game, they could have actually bled time off of the clock. But they didn't. They can't. I reckon that they probably won't, and I won't believe it until I actually see them run with some semblance of efficiency. But I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. Don't get me wrong. I hope that I'm incorrect with that. I hope that I am. But I just don't believe it. The only success that they really had running the ball was when they did do some of the having the some counters and stuff, taking it outside. Who did I say that right tackle was? The Jawan Bushell-Beatty. They get him out in space because he's not winning at the line. Get him out in space in front of Wayne Gallman, and have Marcel Aitman also, or one of these other gigantic wide receivers that you have. Let them body up against a small defensive back. I don't know. And then have Jake Sutherland also go out and take a linebacker. These are the only things that are really working. Until you just got to throw the ball enough so that they have to respect the pass. Get yourself a light box. Only have like 6 guys in the box, and then you can run up the middle. But until that happens, they were really just trying to force that, and I blame that on Bruce Gradkowski, the offensive coordinator. Kept trying the same boneheaded thing over and over again. And a little bit that's probably on Anthony Becht, who I'm becoming more and more sour on. After watching this game, I became more sour on Anthony Becht. But that was kind of where this game was lost, in the lack of the running game. The passing game worked at times. It was, the offensive line didn't do as bad as I thought that they did. That's not saying that they did good. They did bad. They played poorly. But it wasn't as atrocious as I thought. It was still really bad. It just wasn't like a crime against humanity that these guys were out there. I do think AJ McCarron is going to miss time this season. He's just getting hammered. He's just getting hammered by these guys. There was one play where Vidal Alexander absolutely whiffs on a block, and the guy comes in untouched and just absolutely crushes AJ McCarron. And a lot of that is communication between the offensive line, like the guys on the offensive line. If they can't communicate, and a team does a simple stunt, it's going to be bad. It's going to be long, but the passing game, like I said, it was there. Ended up like I brought this up on Sunday or Monday, whenever I did that the reaction kind of a thing. Marcel Aitman had 6 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Darius Shepard 5 catches for 34 yards. Jake Sutherland, man, you got to feed that. You got to feed that tight end. The guy's good. The guy's good at being a tight end. The guy can block. The guy can catch the ball. He can get yak. You gotta. I would like to see Jake Sutherland with more than just 3 targets, because he caught all of them and he was incredibly efficient when he did. Other than that, wasn't a whole lot. That Blake Jackson, the guy that I brought up, I did like the Battlehawks usage of him. He's a smaller, shiftier guy. I think until Ja'Cour Pearson comes back from the IR, he's going to have a spot on this offense. They did an end around with him early in the game, which is good. Do some tricky bullshittery. Do that because if you got to run the ball and the running backs aren't doing it, make sure you get some of these quick guys and get it around. I think he got like 9 yards on an end around or something like that. It's like, that's good. We'll take that. Why are we doing things? Why do we do something that works and then we never see anything like it again during the game? That was kind of frustrating. But I like him. He did have a, I don't want to call it a, he had a bad rep. We'll call it a bad rep. Earlier in the game, AJ had a deep shot to Blake Jackson, and it looked like Blake Jackson kind of quit on his route a little bit, and then realized that he was the one that was open, and the ball was coming to him, and then could have been for six. Could have been for six. AJ threw the ball right where Blake Jackson should have been in the end zone, but Jackson already lost his step and couldn't catch up to it. But other than that, I kind of like him. He had, what did I say? He had 2 catches for 14 yards, and then he had the end around was actually for 15 yards, not 9 yards. He had 1 carry for 15 yards, 2 catches for 14 yards on 3 targets. So I like him. Is that everybody on the offense? AJ, like I said, had a kind of a, he had some bad throws. He had some bad throws, but he also played pretty good given what he had going on around him. And the fact that he hasn't absolutely murdered his offensive line is just something tremendous. When I do go back and watch it, I will. It takes me a little bit longer because if I do hear AJ, because they have him like kind of mic'd up, or they have one of those parabolic mics zoned in on him all the time, and just hearing him dog cuss and motherfuck everybody is it's very funny. It's very funny. Like when he threw that screen pass that zonked off of Vidal Alexander's head. He's just dog cussing him. That was funny. He's like, "What the fuck is that guy doing out there?" So that was good. That was good. That was fun. As far as the defense goes, this is not good. The defense played well for what they're given. My problems with this defense is structurally and schematically. The 2 touchdowns that the Panthers scored on the defense were both by E.J. Perry, the quarterback, on scrambles, on light boxes. They're just playing man entirely. They're playing man coverage entirely too much, dude. These big play, like their running plays started working. The Panthers' running plays started working at the end of the game because the defensive backs were in man and just getting run off the ball, and there was nobody there to make a tackle before it turned into a huge chunk. On those touchdowns, they're in man coverage. They just got spread out. It was an incredibly light box. It's like 3 guys on the line, and then 2 linebackers that were kind of spread far apart. My dude, that was ugly. I don't like that. They're getting beat by man coverage the entire game. Now they did have like the Mike Rose. That wasn't even man really. He kind of just dropped into coverage and was reading the quarterback's eyes. I had a whole big thing here, but I think it got deleted. I did my notes on my iPad, and then for some reason my notes app just deleted half of the notes that I had for the game. So that was kind of a big kick in the dick. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see if I do have it. No, I don't. That sucks because I was very proud of the notes that I took there, and then I've been having a day. Anyway, the defense, the man coverage was just slaughtering them. And as soon as E.J. Perry and whoever the Panthers offensive coordinator recognized that, they were able to kind of just pick them apart. The game should have been a bigger difference. The Battlehawks should have gotten wiped off the board in this one, but some of the turnovers, like the one that Quinterio Cole got that hit him in the dick in the end zone, those things were really beneficial to the Battlehawks. I don't know. I did bring up that they changed the defensive backs part of the way through the game. They brought in number 14, number 4, and number 24. Number 14 is let me see if I can blow this up. But where did it go? Number 14, Channing Stribling. Number 4 is Tim Harris, and then number 24 is Lavert Hill. Lavert Hill is coming back from last year, but that Channing Stribling and the Tim Harris, they not good. Not good in man. The only defensive back that I saw that was like really good in man was Brandon Sebastian. Like he was kind of able to blanket some people, get himself in the way, and make it so E.J. Perry had to throw some really good balls, which he was not able to do. But Channing Stribling and Tim Harris, they were getting cooked. man. There was one play where they both bit on the ball. Like, it ended up being like a 51-yard pass, maybe. I can't remember. It was a big pass. It was a big pass, a big completion. But they both tried to play the ball instead of playing the receiver, and then they both whiffed on it. It was like Three Stooges. It was like watching Nitro Circus. Like, it almost looked like they weren't trying to hit each other or the ball, and the ball went straight to the receiver, and he ended up getting a huge gain. I don't know, man. It was bad. I'm not entirely sure what the plan was with that, but I do blame the entire thing on the scheme, on the playing man. Play zone more, because you just didn't do any adjustments. There was no adjustments that were made. Like, when I saw that we had new defensive backs come in, I was like, okay, this is good. This is a good thing. And then it didn't work, and they just kind of kept with it. I was like, well, wait a minute. Go back to the thing that was working when they weren't scoring and we were getting some turnovers. Go back to that. Players that I thought did good. I think the linebacker play was not bad. They were put out of position sometimes. Like, I saw there was one play where Mike Rose, white linebacker with a neck roll. The inability to turn his head because of his cowboy collar that he had on, ended up going out into cover. Like, he was in man. He had to cover the wide receiver that was closest to the sideline. Luckily, the ball didn't go his way. Probably should have, but I don't know about that. Like, if you're a defensive coordinator and you see that is a possibility that could happen on a play where your linebacker is covering the boundary, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think I see that and I change things immediately. But I'm not a defensive coordinator, and I'm probably just a dipshit. They're smarter than me. Congratulations. But I'm not the one who called a game where you lost. So that's what we got going on there. It was bad. The Panthers would do motion, and then it would bring a cornerback across the entirety of the field and jumble up everything in the middle because linebackers had to move to get out of his way. It was ugly. It was ugly on defense, and I think that was a schematic thing. That's my point there. Let's see. Is that all I really had for this game? Oh, yes, and I thought about this more rewatching it. The Beck decision to not go for 3 at the end. Again, I think that it could have been taken out of the equation completely if there was a semblance of a running game, but there's not. I get the decision that he made. I get the decision to go for 1 to win the game. I like Anthony Beck's trust in his team. I like that. Maybe that's what I should start with. I like Anthony Beck's trust in his team. Like, when he did there was a penalty on a punt and he chose to re-kick. I'm for that. Let your special XFL Special Teams Player of the Year, Darius Shepard, let him do what he does best and return punts. I like that he's like, you know what? We're going to give him a better shot to get another return here. I like that. So I like that Anthony Beck trusted in his team, in his defense, to be able to get a stop. I think that was probably not a good idea given the fact that the Panthers just marched straight down the field the drive before that, and his defense looked like they were gassed, and who's to blame them? The defensive backs were sprinting after wide receivers, and they couldn't stop a cough. Like, it was dumb to trust them, but I do like that he does trust them. So I like that aspect of it, to say we're going to get one, go for 1 right now, and get the lead. And then the defense can stop this other team with no timeouts, with 48 seconds left, with a kicker who hasn't kicked in 45 years or whatever the hell it was. So I do like that. But his reasoning behind it, like I said before, was that he asked Bruce GradKowski, what's our best play? And of course, Bruce GradKowski is going to say the play that we have that only needs to get 2 yards. So that's the problem. That's the problem there. Is that was your rationale behind it, and not the fact. I don't know. You guys get what I mean. You're smart enough. You get what I mean. It was a mess. It was a mess, and I still don't entirely agree with it, but I understand a thought behind it. But it doesn't sound like that was Anthony Beck's actual thought behind it. I'm not entirely sure what Anthony Beck does. He doesn't call plays. He doesn't like yell at a ref for me, dude. Like yell at a ref. Yell at a ref for me. I want to see you have some emotion, because he's kind of just sitting there looking like a plain dude. Like he has a hat, he has a black Battlehawks hat on. No discernible things on his face. Like he's not a bearded guy. He's not old. He's just an Italian. He's just an Italian guy with the hat on the sideline. Be Italian. Yell at people. You be emotional. Use your hands. Yell at people. Anthony, big tone. Come on, dude. He was kind of a coward. He was kind of a coward. The field goal before halftime. Coward. I don't know. I didn't like that. But I think that's the end of the reKAWp. Offensively, I think that this team can start fast. They need to actually complete passes at the beginning of the game in order to start fast. And if they do that, they can win games. I think this is I'm not entirely sure front running team is the way to do it, because you need to have a run game in order to be a front running team. But I think the offense can be fun. It just was not fun this game. They kind of took the first, 39 minutes off of the game on offense, and then kind of came alive in the very end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. But that's where we're at with that. I don't know. They lost 16-18, and Jake Bates is apparently getting calls from NFL teams now. And who could blame him? I know the Lions were one of the teams that reached out to him, and I was like, okay, no. I'm still not entirely sure that he's a real person. Could just be a robot. But that is the reKAWp. So let's get into a bird's eye view. The Battlehawks are playing the Arlington Renegades on Saturday at 7 p.m. In St. Louis. It's absolutely going to be hell downtown, because there's a Cardinals game in the afternoon. There's a soccer game at 7:30, and this game's at 7. I don't know if the Blues are playing, but if they are, it's going to be hell down there. But that is what's going on. The Renegades are coming off of a game where they played the Birmingham Stallions, and can't talk. The Renegades lost 27-14. This is a team last year that ended up winning the XFL championship in a very fluke, crazy way. They were bad all season, but they ended up winning in the playoffs in the postseason, and they won. That's a fact. That is a fact. That being said, this team's boring as shit, dude. Like, this team is not fun. They have a couple quarterbacks. They got this guy, Luis Perez. He was their quarterback last year. They have another quarterback, number 10. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Scott. He can come in. He's just like more mobile. Luis Perez is very statuesque in the backfield. He can run, but just like not very good. Like not very good at all. I think that if this Battlehawks defensive line, I think that's where they're going to win this game if they win this game. I think it's going to be via that defensive line, because as bad, like, I'm not saying the Renegades offensive line is as bad as the Battlehawks offensive line. It's not good. It's not good. They are, like, there was a couple times during that game where number 55, I think it might be their left guard, just got bullied, man. He just got popped. He was on his back a lot during that game. Seeing an offensive lineman get pancaked is very funny when it's a different team and not yours. So I think that they're going to be able to get to Luis Perez. The thing about him, though, is that he's kind of like unflappable. He just doesn't, I'm not saying he doesn't give a shit, but like nothing gets to him. Like the guy was able to he was getting guys all over him all that entire game, and then he just stayed strong and kept doing what he was doing. So that's kind of the lowdown on him. He's not super accurate. He had like one good throw in that game, one good deep throw in that game, I should say. But it was also like an easy throw. Like it was still it was a beautiful throw, and if the wide receiver had anybody on him, it would have been a beautiful throw like that. So it was a beautiful throw, but the wide receiver was wide open right down the middle of the field, and he caught it. It was great. It was a huge touchdown. But other than that, his deep balls kind of hit or miss. In any direction, not any direction, like high or low. He was overthrowing guys deep. He's underthrowing guys deep. Threw a couple a bad interception on a deep ball in the red zone. I'm not entirely. If you want to win this game by making Luis Perez beat you, because he's not great. He's not very good. He's better than he was last year because he actually can move a little bit now. Not EJ Perry moving. Like EJ Perry was scrambling and getting around. Luis Perez is able to pick up like 3 or 4 yards if he has a spot like directly in front of him to get that. He's not like super mobile or anything, but he can do that. He's not going to be like a Jordan Ta'amu last year that was cooking the Battlehawks, or again like EJ Perry just did. So that's a beneficial thing. Like if there is a light box directly in front of Luis Perez, like EJ Perry saw last week, because the Battlehawks are playing man, Luis Perez is not going to pick up 12. He's not that kind of a guy. His backup might be. They only had him in for like a couple snaps. He had 1 carry for 6 yards. Maybe they see something, but we simply don't know yet. But the way that Bob Stoops, the Renegades head coach, wants to play football is old school. He wants to run the ball. And he's going to run the ball just an absolute shitload. So that's why this is going to end up having to be on the defensive line to win this game. They're going to have to stay stout. They have their running back, Letty Brown, who was on the Battlehawks last year, like on their practice squad, or like before. I think he got like cut before the season started. In that game he had 8 carries for 30 yards. That's 3.8 yards per carry. He can be good. There's a lot of times where the Stallions, the team that they were playing against, just wrapped up really well. They were like actually making some decent tackles, where Letty Brown couldn't get free, but he definitely had the opportunity to. So yes, this defensive line and then the linebacker is going to have to play pretty stout against them. But that's just what they want to do. The other thing with this is that they're going to run the ball a shitload, and then that's going to open up Luis Perez to do play action. And the way that they do play action, they don't run from shotgun a whole lot. So when he does his play action, he's turning his back to the defense. He's spinning or faking the handoff. So he has his back to the defense for a minute. I would like for this Battlehawks defense, if they want to be good in the passing game, to be able to disguise some coverage, to be able to move some like the safeties around a little bit when Perez has his back turned. I'm not entirely sure that's going to be the case if they're going to continue to do this man thing. Obviously, that won't be the case if they're doing man, but that would be a good way to beat them. That would be a good way to kind of neutralize this passing game, is that if when that split second where Luis Perez has his back turned, you'd switch up the coverage a little bit, you disguise something, so that way when he gets his eyes, flips them back around, he has to recalibrate, give that defensive line a little bit more time to get to him, and that will be successful if they do that. I don't necessarily know if they're going to. But let's see. I said that about Perez, very hit or miss on deep throws. Wide receivers open. Letty Brown, I talked on that. Run the piss out of the ball. Their wide receivers are nothing special. They're tight end. Like they got this guy Burnett. That's going to be Luis Perez's go-to guy. Nothing special. He had 36 yards on five targets. He can get yak. So if these defensive backs choose to not to play the ball, if both of them choose to play the ball and nobody plays the receiver, that's going to be trouble. But they also got this tight end Sal Cannella. If you look at the box score, 4 catches for 49 yards, that all came in garbage time. Like I see where he's like a bigger wiry, not a bigger one. He's just like He's almost just like a big wide receiver. He's not a blocking tight end. He's just there to catch passes. Is that Sal Cannella? It's just a boring offense, man. It's just nothing super special about it. They're just going to run the ball a lot. And if that can be successful against this team, if they can actually get that ball to the second level and have the defensive backs run off the ball, again, I think zone is going to be a big. If the Battlehawks, the game plan should be zone. The game plan should be a lot of zone coverage here. Make Luis Perez, if he's going to throw the ball into windows, not necessarily targeting one guy, but throwing into a window. That way you have all your defensive backs staying home and being able to stop the run. I mentioned their O-line got bullied. They're not great in pass blocking. They are better in run blocking, but pass blocking, like I said, they can get bulldozed. They're susceptible to those bull rushes and some not necessarily speed, but just having guys go through them, and having a big meaty guy, a couple 300-pounders in the middle of your defensive line is going to be very helpful. So that's kind of what we're looking at for that what's it called, that Arlington Renegades team. Prediction for this game. Like I said, this Battlehawks offense, they can start fast. I don't know if they will. Just yet. They can start fast. You can see that it's there, that they can start fast. I just don't know if they will. Really hoping that they don't start the game off with a run on first down. That would be a big bummer, and that would kind of make me lose any faith that I had. But I think that they can start fast. So I think they're actually going to be able to put up some points on this Arlington defense. Who has, like, I didn't mention them. They have good linebacker play, and their defensive backs, like, they're good in coverage. They play deep. They keep stuff in front of them. The only big pass that the Stallions, that the Birmingham Stallions had on them, was on a double move. So other than that Arlington defensive backfield is pretty good. I should just talk about their entire defense before I get into a prediction. The Arlington defensive line might be an issue. Not might be. They're going to be an issue because the Battlehawks offensive line stinks. But they got into the backfield, and they kind of just hung out in the backfield. And the Birmingham Stallions have a good quarterback, two good quarterbacks, who were able to scramble. That's the reason that Arlington lost this game, was because of the quarterback runs from Birmingham. That's how Birmingham got a whole lot of their yardage was just their quarterback runs and in really clutch moments. And the defensive line was making it so the quarterback had an opportunity to move forward. Like, he didn't. These guys weren't scrambling left and right and taking it up the sideline or anything like that. They were kind of just going right up the heart of the defense where they had open field. AJ McCarron's not going to do that. AJ McCarron can scramble around in the backfield and everything like that, but the way that this defensive line was playing in their game was that they weren't necessarily allowing space for a quarterback to scramble around in the backfield. I think AJ still will be able to do that a little bit because he's good, but I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. I think he's going to get hit a lot. The defensive line did get kind of like displaced on run plays. So if the Battlehawks offensive line wants to run the ball this game, this is a much better chance for them to run the ball this game and actually show us that maybe the Panthers defensive line was good. Maybe that's what the case was. Maybe this Battlehawks offensive line is good, but that Panthers defensive line was even better, and maybe that's why they couldn't run. Maybe that's what it's not what it was, but maybe that's what it was. If this defensive line for Arlington can be run on and they can be moved around, they're just much better whenever they get to actually go after the quarterback. Like I said, their linebackers are good at wrapping up. They're good in the open field. They did take some bad angles on checkdowns and throws to running backs. So maybe Jacob Saylors, if he can catch the ball, and maybe if Wayne Gallman can actually look a ball into his hands, they might be able to get some good yak. Maybe that could be a thing. I wouldn't count on it because I just don't think that they're very good. So that's kind of the lowdown on the Arlington defense. But anyway, let's get back to the prediction that I was doing. Like I said, I think that the Battlehawks can start fast. It's a defense that is going to allow things in the intermediate of the field. I think that the Battlehawks can move the ball. Don't know if they will. But I would like to think that the Battlehawks get more than 15 points or 16 points this game. I would like to think that. I think that it'll be a home opener. I think that they'll be able to get some juice. Hopefully, they just choose to get the ball first. That way, they can get the crowd fired up and make it absolute hell for the Arlington defense or Arlington offense right off the bat. Battlehawks go down, score, loud crowd, makes it very hard for Arlington to get going. So I'm going to say Battlehawks. Man, I want to stick to traditional football scores. I want to do that. I want to say that the Battlehawks will score 24 points with 3 touchdowns and a field goal. I don't know, because who knows what Anthony Beck's actually going to do if he does score. Let's make it fun. Let's do a fun score. I'm going to say 26 to 19 is going to be the final score. And this is the last time I'm going to give the Battlehawks the benefit of the doubt to start fast. If they don't do it this game, I'm out on it. I don't think that they're going to start fast if they don't start fast this game. So yes, I'm going to say the final score of this game. What did I say? 26 to 19. That's my final score. Thank you guys. That has been the reKAWp and the Bird's Eye preview. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. Like I said, Battlehawks play the Arlington Renegades on Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Dome. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll be back with you after the game. Have a good one.